Welcome, everyone. Today I am going to discuss a very interesting question that was put to Aristotle 2000 years ago. The question was the universe started from nothing, absolute nothing, or did the universe existed in some form forever from time eternity? Because it never started, there was no beginning. So not Einstein, Aristotle at that time, he said, you cannot start, you cannot have matter from nothing. So there has to be something before that, and there has to be something existed all the time, that there was no beginning. But there was no evidence for anything at that time. Even later, there was no evidence to answer this question. But there was some piece of evidence came in 1780 to answer this question. Interestingly, it was William Herschel, an astronomer. It's the same William Herschel who found the planet Uranus. So he was studying these binary stars. Binary stars, two stars, they go around each other. So studying, and then he found one system called Eridani. And these two stars were not going around each other. They go in a weird path, and looks like there was something else there. Looks like there was a third star there. But he couldn't see with his telescope. He made better and better telescopes, but he could not see it. But it was obvious that there was another star there, something very big has to be there that could change the orbits of two big stars. So something big has to be there. 100 years after Herschel, the telescopes got better and bigger, and they were able to see that third star. And it was very faint. Like from our sun, it's like millions of degrees, the outside corona. But these stars were like 10,000 degrees. They were very faint. And the scientists started to find a whole lot of them, thousands of them. And it was obvious that these stars were dead stars. They used to be stars, and then it died out. It used all the fuel, and it died out. And that's going to happen to our sun too. It's nothing forever. There is a limited amount of fuel in the sun, and one day that hydrogen fuel going to be used up by the sun, and it would not have any more hydrogen, and it would die. It burns amount of the mass, the size of Mount Everest every hour. So Mount of Mount Everest, the mass of Mount Everest is burned, converted to energy every hour or something like that. So one day our sun is going to be a dead star, and these dead stars were called white dwarfs. Okay, good. So how could this get have anything to do with the question that we asked, whether the universe started from nothing or the universe was there always? Well, if the stars are dying, if the universe was there always, and if the stars were dying, all the stars had to be dead by now. Because, if there was no beginning of stars, stars were there, whatever it is, and then everything died out. But unless there was, you have stars, and then everything get destroyed, total annihilation, and then start all over again, some kind of a cycle. So you have our universe, one day everything get totally destroyed, annihilated, become all the matter get destroyed, and then restart again. So how could you destroy these white dwarfs? These are huge stars, dead stars, a big chunk of matter. a million times the Earth. How could you destroy Earth? What kind of thing could destroy Earth and become energy? We don't know. So that was one piece of evidence, but that did not really help answering the question. But it just showed to us that at least there has to be some kind of a destruction, some kind of an annihilation in the past for us to have stars today. Otherwise, all the stars would be white dwarfs. All the stars would be dead by now. It's like, let's say, another 50 billion years from now, I think that all the stars would be dead. Our sun would die out in 4 billion years' time. And there are other stars in the universe, but they're also going to be die out within the next 50 billion years or so. Everything would be, there would not be any stars. So some annihilation has to happen in the past, total annihilation, and then stars were born and they are dying out one by one every day, and then eventually all the stars would die out. So we got little information there with that, but not to solve our initial problem. And then that was 1780, and then 1920, Edwin Hubble found out the universe is expanding. Most of you know the story. If it was expanding, it could have been together, and Big Bang theory came about. And it is fair to say that there's plenty of evidence for Big Bang. There's cosmic microwave background radiation. All these galaxies are moving away from us. So there's plenty of evidence for Big Bang. So it's fair to say that almost all physicists agree that there was a Big Bang. That was total annihilation. Everything that was there, it became energy. And then gradually when it cools down, became matter again, stars formed, planets formed. And that mostly the accepted theory today. And one day all the stars would die out, and then it would be only dead stars and black holes. And then these dead stars would get deteriorate and gradually turn into energy. And then eventually, I'm talking thousands and thousands of billions of years after, there will not be any matter. There will be radiation, there will be light, there's electromagnetic radiation, and black holes. And the black holes also going to die out from something called Hawking radiation. Black holes emit very little radiation every time, very little. So after all the stars have become energy gradually, so we have dead star and matter would gradually become energy, and there's no matter, but there will be black holes. And that these black holes would last for trillions upon trillions years. Eventually, they also would die out, and then there will be one last black hole, and it would go. And nothing in the universe, all the universe is pretty much energy, electromagnetic radiation. After that, all kinds of theories out there, we don't know. But that part kind of seems to be what looks like what's going to happen. So, so going back to the question, whether the universe started from nothing or whether something was there all along and there was no beginning. So let's bring that question back to discussion. So right now we know that some major destruction happened in the past, and we know it's Big Bang. Now we don't know how it happened. Now we have theories, unproven, not accepted by all. And one theory is this like sheet-like things, they call it brains. They're like wandering around. And these brains, when they touch, two brains totally get annihilated, become energy. And then the energy would start to cool down and then the matter would form, etc. So that's a theory. I mean, some people, some physicists believe that. There's no evidence for these sheets called brains. Maybe I'm speaking before I finish this lecture or this speech. A brain would hit our universe and everything could get annihilated and we start all over again. You may have to wait for a long time to humans or some intelligent life forms to form after that. So we don't know where these brains are. They could come anytime. So this is all theory. And then there are other theories regarding the vacuum fluctuations, and so we are trying to explain how this Big Bang would have happened. So we know that some kind of a major annihilation happened in the past. That we know. How it happened, that we don't know. Now, Roger Penrose is a Nobel Prize winning physicist. He has a theory called cyclic universe theory. And he's bringing up a good point, and I would explain that. Now, if you have our planet is moving around the sun based on laws, this the Einstein's theory of gravity, very well proven. All the tests have passed. There's nothing against, no evidence against the theory. So there's our planet, our Earth is going around the sun due to curvature of space-time, and we call something called a Riemann or Ricci tensor. And when if there is no matter, you cannot have these tensors. There's no tensors, there's no matter, there's no Riemann tensor. But there is one tensor that's called Weyl tensor that could be there even before matter was formed. Let's say just after the Big Bang, there is no matter, it's all radiation. But this Weyl tensor could be there, and when the matter is formed, the matter would move as per this Weyl tensor. And that's the point Penrose is bringing up. If that's the case, then the laws of physics, the tensor, the Weyl tensor, was there before matter. So you have annihilation, that would be the Big Bang, total annihilation, that would be Big Bang. Next step was radiation and laws of physics, the Weyl tensor. And then the matter start to move as per laws of physics, as per Weyl tensor, and then the Riemann tensor came around. Now, there has to be something for the Riemann tensor to be formed. The matter is formed, we agree with that. But there's no reason why the Riemann tensor has to be formed, the stress energy tensor. So there has to be some logic in the universe for them to form. So that we call laws of physics. So we have the total annihilation, that would be the Big Bang, energy, radiation, and the laws of physics, all these tensors. Matter was formed, and the matter has to obey whatever the laws of physics, that will be the Riemann tensor and Weyl tensor, etc. And so it looks like these laws of physics are there all the time. So matter get annihilated, energy forms, but we still don't know how, eventually everything would be energy. But then how it would go back to matter, that part is not clear to anyone. And even Roger Penrose theory says when it becomes energy and everything is radiation in the whole universe, all the stars have become energy, deteriorated. That's called due to the second law of thermodynamics, which is basically deteriorate everything. And but then once we have all energy, how the matter would be formed at that point is not clear to anyone. And then you have string theories. Basically, they have, crazy exotic particles, tachyons, moving faster than light. And that's another theory, that this tachyon field was there all the time. Once these annihilation matter, life, was there life in a past universe? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. One day our universe would get totally annihilated. That there would not be any evidence that we ever existed, that our star existed, because everything would be just light, energy. That will be our fate. So, and then now the universe would start, but we don't know how. So there are a lot of unknowns. We have some idea, but we have proved at least there has to be an annihilation in the past. That we have proved, that we know. But what happened before the annihilation, which we don't know. That will be our Big Bang. Big Bang annihilated whatever was there totally, and accept the laws of physics, and converted everything to energy, and then the matter was formed and the universe started. So going back to our original question, we have not answered the original question, but we have taken some steps in answering that question. Maybe one day we would answer that question. Thank you very much for listening.